Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unicorn Readers Club. Yet another awesome video. And today we have an author with us, and we are so excited to have this conversation, to have this call. And we've been planning since 3 weeks, I think. And finally, today is the day where we decided to have this talk with author of the book, Calm the Chaotic Mind, and with us is author Kunal Dudeja. Kunal, welcome, warm welcome to this first video call with you, and congratulations on being an author. Congratulations
Thank
on your
you.
book.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. And it is indeed my pleasure to be doing this session with you and to be working with your
Thank
team.
you.
So thank you for
Thank you
inviting.
for thank you for being a part of this call. And with me is my friend and the core team member of the Unicorn Readers Club, Prachi. And we are hi Prachi. We are going to have a very wonderful conversation with Kunal because there are so many questions which which Kunal can answer about this book. And so Kunal, first let me let me give you my story of you know finding this book and connecting to you, and then we can go forward and talk with you and have a conversation. So Kunal, when about 3 to 4 weeks ago, when we were looking at different possibilities for the next book of the month, Prachi suggested Calm the Mind. There was a book by Calm the Mind or something of that name, and I just went on Kindle. You know, the way I read is many people will find it very strange, but when I find a book, will go on Kindle, I will download the book, I will read it in the next 2 3 days, and I'm done. Until and unless I read the book, I'm not completely done. But so while downloading various books on calming the mind and feeling anxiety free, I just bumped across this book, and what attracted me of the book was 1 plus 1 is equal to 3, and I was like, wow, looks interesting. Calm the chaotic mind. Okay, Amazon bestseller. Correct thinking mistakes. Kunal Dudeja. It's like, Arey, ye to Kunal Dudeja, is he the Kunal Dudeja I know? And I just downloaded the book. I started reading and I connected Kunal. So, how I know Kunal? Kunal's wife is my college friend. That's how I know him. And plus, we have been batchmates in Access Consciousness Foundation class and I think body process class. So that's how I know Kunal. So I connected to him and I said, Kunal, is that you? He said, Ashwini, yes, that is very much me. And I said, wow, congratulations. The next question was, Kunal, will you be a speaker on our book club? To which he really, it was very nice of him to agree. And he said, yes, happily would do that. And hence we are here. So over to you, Kunal. Once again, welcome. And any opening words you would like to say before we proceed to our conversation?
Ashwini, firstly, thanks that you bumped into this book, right? And it gives me also a good opportunity to connect with you, with your team, and with the readers especially.
Yes.
Uh, the intent of we doing this is to reach out to people who can read few techniques, tools, and actually apply them in their lives. That's the
Right.
agenda, or that's the objective of these sessions.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm really happy that you are also in this work, and
Yes.
these are like really pleasant coincidences that that create
Absolutely.
possibilities. So that's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
And nothing is a coincidence, my friend. I think we were meant to read this book and we were meant to have this conversation. So Kunal,
Absolutely.
first and foremost, tell me what is this book about?
So actually, this book is um, about learning very basic yet proven ways
Hmm.
to help us calm our mind. Now,
Okay.
this book is divided into three sections. Section
Right.
one talks about, how do I manage my cool and calm during life daily stresses? We
Right.
go to work, we are stuck in traffic, our boss tells us something. So events are always happening. We call these things as events. So
Yes.
how do I keep my calm during life daily situations? That's the section one. The second part of the book is the core of the book, which talks about two therapies, which is cognitive behavior therapy and emotional freedom technique, which is meant to create a more calm, uh, which is meant to give you the empowerment to keep your calm during life chaotic situations. When
Hmm.
there are unpleasant events happening. So how do
Correct.
I, keep myself calm and peace, and how do I, overcome those situations in a way that I respond to them positively. That's
Hmm.
the core part of the book. And the
Right.
third section of the book is more about creating a proactive lifestyle.
Hmm.
We just don't want to just, we don't want to just, live in a reactive way. We want to
Correct.
proactively create a more serene, more peaceful lifestyle so that the outcome is more permanent. So these
Right.
are the three sections the book is divided into.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What a wonderful way of putting it, because I really like the way the book is put up, and I must tell you that it is unlike many books. This book has, activities, and which is really wonderful. Now, the very important, and that should have been my first question, because that was the first thing I realized when I downloaded this on Kindle. What is 1 + 1 = 3? What does that mean?
So, well, Ashwini, before I answer that, as we speak,
Yeah.
you know, this book
Yes.
I just saw on Amazon right now, and it is
Yes.
again got the Amazon #1 rank in the psychology category. So,
Congratulations.
thank
That's
you. So this
really
section
wonderful.
is definitely lucky that it's already gone there up there.
Way to go.
So, thank you. So 1 + 1 is definitely equals to 2, right? Now, how did this 1 + 1 became 3? Is because Ashwini, I made a thinking mistake.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Thinking mistake, like a thinking error.
Mm.
Now, thinking errors are essentially called as cognitive distortions.
Right.
We all make thinking errors without realizing that it is a thinking error.
Mm.
Now, because I'm making a thinking error, which means eventually I am going to feel unpleasant. Now, there are
Right.
different emotions. I don't want to talk about those, but I'm just
Correct.
classifying them as unpleasant emotions
Pleasant.
for simplicity. Example, if I lost my keys, I forgot my keys at home, I am irresponsible.
Mm.
If I'm thinking this way, like I forgot my keys at home, I am
Yes.
irresponsible. I am labeling myself
Yes.
based on one specific incident. Thinking error, labeling is again a thinking error,
Mm.
right? That's just one thinking error. The other one could be, either you are my best friend or my worst enemy,
And
right? That's called black and white thinking.
black
That's
and white.
again a thinking error, right? Either I will be on 100% diet and I will do everything to lose weight, or I'm going to eat a box of chocolates. I'm going to do nothing at all. That's again, thinking errors.
The polarity, what
So
we talk about, polarity.
absolute, the polarity, the extreme thinking. So, Ashwini, the point here is 1 + 1 = 3 is not correct.
Right.
Similarly, we have such thinking errors or cognitive distortions, which doesn't helps us to stay calm. So if I
Mm.
continue to make thinking distortions,
Right.
I'm always going to end up, not being at peace. So this is the most critical, and it is actually one of my favorite topic from the book, where I talk
Mm.
about this simple, not simple, but I talk about those 10 thinking errors in a very simple way. Now, I've done a lot of research with, CBT. I've studied at least 3 to 4 books. I've done courses, and
Right.
what I have tried to do in my book is make this book very lucid reading.
Yes.
Anybody can read this book and
Yes.
understand the essence of it.
Absolutely.
I've
Yes.
kind of, removed the entire complexity of, reading and understanding and implementing. Just read it, you understand the essence, and you implement it. So, yeah.
That's really interesting, and that brings me to my next question. So, who is this book for? Because you made it simple. But who would this book be for? Who are the potential readers? I mean, of course, me and Prachi, as I said, Prachi got the book. I got the book. We already started reading it. But who, if, I know there are so many people on our book club, also because people who are watching this on YouTube, who are not on the book club, who are the people
Yeah.
for whom this book is for?
See, this book is definitely for people who are new to therapy work, and
Hmm.
especially students.
Hmm.
I don't know what therapy work is, what
Correct.
is cognitive behavior therapies, what is emotional freedom, what is breath work, what is NLP. So this
Yeah.
book doesn't gives a lot of details, but this book gives you the basics of very key yet proven techniques where you can literally learn and apply it in your life.
Hmm.
So someone who is looking to create a calm lifestyle, someone who's always, let's say, experiencing unpleasant emotions, or someone is always stressed,
Right.
they can literally use this techniques in this book and apply it to their lives.
Hmm.
And it's definitely, I'm not a fond of writing long chapters, or rather long text.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it just has some 130, 140 pages.
Right.
So anyone can read the book, and there are so many techniques. My intent for the reader is they don't have to use everything in the book. They can
Hmm.
literally just use one technique or
One
two
technique.
techniques,
Yes. Yes.
implement it, and
Correct.
see the change. I
Correct.
believe
Correct.
in implementing the change. Yeah. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And because now you mentioned techniques, and I see you've explained a lot of techniques in this book. So could you talk about it? What are the techniques in this book? Because that was the first thing I noticed in this book is the techniques. And that makes the book easy for people like me to implement in day-to-day life. So could you talk a bit about the
yes,
techniques of this book?
sure, absolutely. So Ashwini, let's say I'm in my car and I'm stuck in traffic and I'm like
Right.
really frustrated. What do I do?
Yes. Yes.
I can use a technique of box breathing or conscious breathing. Just breathe in for
Hmm.
4
Yes.
seconds, hold my breath, breathe out
Yes.
for 4 seconds, hold my breath, just to calm down. I'm going to give an interview right now.
Hmm.
What do I do? I'm feeling nervous. Use the same technique. So, the situations are always going to happen in a life, right? Which
Right.
is unavoidable. How do I keep myself calm? Then, you know, we do food, right? We do food, we take our meals,
Yeah.
and so many times we eat our meals in a hurry. We can
Yes.
actually use food also to calm ourselves. And then another technique which I've said is called conscious eating, where I
Yes.
actually become mindful about all my five senses. I literally see the texture of the food, what I'm eating. I take 20 minutes, 30 minutes to take my meal. So this is again a daily use technique, right? I'm never going to stop eating. So while I eat, I use it, and I've heard somebody, they actually kind of lost some weight also just by using one of this
Wow.
technique.
How cool is
So
that?
yeah, and then the
Wow.
very important technique, Ashwini, this book talks about is cognitive behavior therapy. It's
Yes.
again scientifically proven.
Yeah.
This book, uh, in a very simple way, tells us how our thoughts,
Yeah.
emotions, and behaviors are connected.
Mm.
Like how does one leads to another? And one
Correct.
example, if I have to, give you on how does thought impact our emotions,
Right.
I would say, let's say you're just walking down the street and you have a good friend passing by. Your good friend looks at you, but he doesn't say a hi, or he or she doesn't say a hi to you. What is your first thought, Ashwini?
Oh, did I do something wrong? Why is he or she not talking to me? What happened?
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. So if you look now closely, you just said it. What did I do something wrong? Is the thought. That thought is causing the emotion of you feeling, let's say, unpleasant,
Sad.
worried,
Yes.
right? Now, if your first thought was, maybe he did not look at me because he's just too busy. If that was your first thought, then your emotion will be maybe a little concerned, but it would still be a lot neutral than the first
That
thought,
feeling. Yes.
right? So this is like the core of CBT,
CBT.
cognitive behavior therapy, that your thoughts, how do they impact your emotions?
Hmm.
Now I spoke about thinking errors. Those are again thoughts. So the more
Yes.
thinking errors I do, the more unpleasant I feel.
Absolutely. Wow. That's really interesting. And wow, I really like the way how the thought shifts in your head. And um,
Yes.
Kunal, we wanted to know about what made you write this book, and I'm sure Prachi also wanted to ask about what inspired to write this book. So I'm going to give it over to Prachi to ask a question about what inspired to write this book. Prachi, do you want to go ahead with it?
Yeah, hi Kunal. So Kunal,
Hi, Prachi.
hi. Yeah, so the first question is why a non-fiction genre that you chose to start with, and you have talked extensively about EFT in this, and EFT and the combination of EFT plus CBT. So if you
Yes.
could just elaborate that, what made you kind of think that these two will work together? And because EFT, I mean, emotional freedom technique uh, is talks about freedom from our maybe emotions which are not very helpful to us, and cognitive is again the thoughts which are not helpful to us. CBT talks
Yes.
about that. So when you combine the two, that emotions plus thought, you are trying to kind of solve two problems.
Yes.
One is the unhealthy emotion and one is the unhealthy thought. So when you are trying to solve these two problems, there is also a third problem of physiology. uh, that what
Yes.
happens physiologically when I do or do not do this. So can you tell us a bit more on this?
Sure, absolutely, Prachi. So, for me, emotional freedom technique has always worked, right? Now, when I talk about EFT, for those who don't know, it is like a mind-body technique where just by tapping some parts on your body and by saying few things, you actually reduce the emotional intensity, right? Now, I have always been practicing EFT till the time I bumped into CBT techniques and I learned about it. And when I learned about CBT, I actually used it on myself. Right, I was kind of going through a difficult phase. I learned CBT. I used it on myself for a considerable period of time, and then I assessed that how much of my thoughts were truly impacting my emotions. And then that kind of made me do some more research where, Ashwini has said, I read more books about CBT and did more courses. And after doing that, I realized that these both therapies are awesome in their own specific ways. So if I am having issues with thought corrections, then CBT works brilliantly. But if I'm having issues with, let's say, guilt or anger or the intensity of those emotions, then EFT works brilliantly. So this is where I thought I could literally use the advantages of both these therapies and combine them together. Because we have to understand, all of a sudden in the morning I wake up, I can't be angry, right? There is some thought which is going at the back of my mind, which is keeping me angry, which means the thought is happening, the emotions are happening, and that can work different ways as well. The emotion can come first and the thought can come later. What this does is, when if I have to really look at the solution lies in changing the thought or changing the behavior. Now, how do I change my thought when I'm already feeling, let's say, angry on a scale of 10 on 10? I cannot, right? It's very difficult to change my thought. Let's put it this way. I'm sure there are people who are capable to change, but for a common guy like me, if I'm feeling intense emotions, it's very difficult for me to change my thought. That is where I would use EFT first. And that's where, I've elaborated the core concepts of EFT. I do some EFT therapies on myself, get my emotional intensity from a 10 on 10 to, let's say, a 6 on 10. And then I look at the thoughts which is creating those emotions. If those thoughts are thinking errors, by default, I can just change them. And then once I change the thoughts, that 6 on 10 emotional intensity goes to even further to a 2 on 10 or 3 on 10. And that's like delivering pretty solid results. And Prachi, it is, I actually like your question, why combine the two, and really who validates whether it's really working or no. So I want to, share this that I use it myself. I believe in practical techniques that work. So I use it on myself. I was like, okay, it works for me. Does it work for others? Then I did test workshops. I invited clients, I invited people, and I actually did a 5-day workshop. I explained them the concept of EFT, the CBT, the basics concepts, and I said, just do it, and then give me feedback. And that feedback is also there, in the book, in what actually people have told me, the testimonials. So that really gave me the inspiration to actually write this non-fiction book. Had I received a decent or a not so good feedback from people, I would have not gone that way. Because I got proven results from people. I said, let's take this to the next level. And that really kept inspired me to pin it down, make it more crystallized, make it more organized, and that's how the journey started.
Wow, that's really interesting. And yeah, even I love the question how Prachi asked about CBT and EFT, and um, would love to, of course, know more on that. But that brings me, because you've spoken about how the people who joined your workshops um, got benefited from it. But how has been the readers' response, Kunal? How do you think have the readers benefited? Because if you ask someone like me, I really like the book and the way you have put it, but I also want to hear how the readers have responded to your book.
Ashwini, the readers have responded really well to the book. I've seen Amazon reviews and Goodread reviews and what people have written about the book and the techniques that they have used. For me, just a one-liner saying a reader saying that I am using, like, there's a technique called Om chanting,
Hmm,
and someone gave me a feedback. I'm using Om chanting and it is helping me keep my calm. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. For
really?
me, when readers say that they are using the techniques and it is helping them improve their health or their relationships, that really means a lot to me. So yeah, I mean, readers responses have been really good. And on my Instagram also, there are people who readers who message me saying, hey, I really like your book, and they give me good
Wonderful.
feedback. So that kind of keeps me going.
Of course, and I think it's so inspiring because I always say that, and I'm going to come to your journey in a bit because I also wanted to say, I also want to ask you about what messages or tools you want to share with the readers, which they must do. Because the major part of this book, every book has a crux. I think the crux of this book is the techniques, right?
Yes.
So, what are the messages or tools you really want to share with the readers that they would want to do?
See, there are some very specific techniques which I've shared in my book. One technique is called halt technique.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you see, consciously or subconsciously, we are always making choices, right?
Yes, yes,
Choices is always it's a
absolutely,
very important part of our life.
absolutely.
Choices, especially when it comes to important choices when it comes to career, relationships, health. Now,
Yeah.
I looked at it in a way that what are the decisions that can go wrong when I
Hmm.
actually take those decisions in these key aspects of my life.
Hmm.
So there's a technique called halt technique where I suggest readers when they should not take a decision.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
H, so H stands for hungry. When when you're hungry, please don't take any rational any decisions, right? Then the A stands for when you're agitated or
Hmm.
angry,
Hmm.
don't take decisions in those state of mind.
Hmm.
Then third is lonely. When you're feeling lonely, when you are in that thought zone, don't take key decisions. And the third is when you're feeling tired. When I'm just tired, I quit my job. No, don't ever do that.
Hmm.
Don't take any decisions. That's why it's called halt, right? Halt your
Yeah.
decision making process, HALT.
Wow.
And the other technique which I mean, of course, EFT, CBT are the core techniques
Yeah.
in the book. But one technique which I completely resonate and I also follow is called Om chanting. Now, chanting we all know have their own key benefits, right? And Om chanting is what I understand is scientifically proven to have its own calming effects on the mind. So if you are able to start your day, with Om chanting,
Mm.
and there is a QR code which I've put in my book.
Mm.
Once you
Yes.
open the QR code, there is somebody else on YouTube literally talking how to do Om chanting. Because Om, people say OM, but it's actually AUM, right? It's Om chanting. So if somebody can incorporate Om chanting in their lives, even if they can do it for like 20 times in the morning, that can help, keep calm throughout the day. It's like, setting the foundation right for the day.
Yes. And I personally
So these
experienced
take,
this. I've personally
yeah,
experienced this because as a part of my daily yoga and pranayam routine, I start it with Om and I end it with Om and the pranayam, the breathing exercises in between. So the days um, I'm keeping up with my practice, the days are smoother. And the days I
yes,
don't practice, or sometimes I have gone months without, I've been practicing pranayam since 2017-18, but there are days I've gone without doing it, and those days are more chaotic.
yeah,
So thank you for reminding me so that now I will be more mindful and more focused and more conscious on doing the Om chanting along with my pranayama practice. So I think that's also one of my takeaways, a reminder to me to restart or to be more regular, I would say, with my
yes, yes.
yoga practice. Wow. So yeah, so Om chanting and halt. I really like to halt. And the most important for me is hungry because when I'm hungry, I can really get very, very irritated, and then I might just
We all do that.
we all do
I
that,
do
right?
that. So
So it's also called as hangry. That's why it's also
yeah,
called as hangry because when you are hungry, you can just mess up everything.
yeah,
Um. So Kunal, before I ask about do you teach these techniques, because that is what I wanted to ask you next, but I'm going to halt here and first I'm going to see halt. Again, I said halt. I'm going to stop here and just ask you one more question because I wanted to know how has been your journey as an author, because I'm an aspiring author. I'm working, writing on my book. I'm finding time for it and all of it. So what would be what? How was your journey as an author, and what would you what how would you what would you advise people who are like me, who are aspiring authors or people who are fond of writing and they believe that being a published author is something very difficult or impossible? What would be your advice for that? So I want to know more on that.
sure, Srini. So frankly, I never consciously choose to be an author. Firstly,
Wonderful.
right? I mean, it is just that life events kind of kept me to explore more about CBT. Those workshops happened, and that's where the choice came in to write the book. And for me, I've kept these things very simple,
Yeah,
right? For me, it's not like becoming the best author and all of that. For me, it's like, like I have my background in information technology, and I've
I know.
written many manuals.
Yeah,
So for me, a book is like, okay, I have to write something, and just important to be clear with what you really want to deliver
yeah,
by means of writing the book is very important. So
right.
for me, the journey was quite clear. I always knew I want to write something about the EFT and the CBT model. So that kind of made my journey more easy because I
Mm,
was very clear with what I want to write. And then on the way I did many courses, right, to how to write a book, and there were several mentors also. I learned the journey, so I kind of knew where I'm getting at. So, and then removing dedicated time consistently, putting down the thoughts chapter by chapter and keeping it simple. Especially authors, authors want to do it perfectly, perfect grammar, perfect content, perfect book design. My advice will be, don't go for perfection. My advice will be, if you really want to write a book, You don't have to have a revolutionary idea. You just need to ensure that the book has to be good enough, right, for for readers to read, understand, and create some change. So I kept the book, kind of, I kept the expectations on myself pretty low so that I could kind of meet them and deliver them. So yeah, it's been a good journey, and I'm so happy that Amazon has also recognized the book as the number one bestseller in psychology category, and so yeah, it that does really help.
And what would you advise someone who wants to write?
well, well, if somebody is like really passionate to write, my advice will be please don't go for perfection, right? Make small yet simple progress. Keep the book simple, and be clear with the what kind of message you want to deliver through your book. Like this is a non-fiction book, so this message is more for people who want to write non-fiction books, right? Keep it simple, keep it easy. Don't be too stressed about the grammar, the content. So go with the light energy. So making small consistent progress is more important than delivering the masterpiece. My message will be don't go for masterpiece, go for something which is good enough.
Wow. Noted and taken. Point noted and point taken. And thank you for sharing that. My final question would be: do you also teach these techniques? Because um, I know you as a coach or someone who has been, I've seen you and I've seen you grow and I've seen your work as well. So I saw a lot of techniques which I'm sure if many people would want to learn. So do you teach these techniques too?
Yes, Ashwini, I do teach these techniques. I do train people, to understand how EFT works, to understand the basics of CBT. I help people to use these techniques in their into their day-to-day lifestyle. So I've had people who've done one-to-one sessions as well, and I've had group sessions as well. So I definitely don't want to stop here, and I want to continue to teach people
Correct.
because reading a book, great. Somebody who is a very active reader can read and understand and implement. And there are people who require some more guidance,
Yeah.
and that's where I do one-to-one sessions and teach these techniques as well.
Wow, that's great. So I'm sure many people would want to connect to you. So, we are going to put Kunal's page and his email address and all the details below this video for all of you who would want to get in touch with it, with him, and you can just connect him to know more about these. But before that, I'm sure you would want to buy and read the book. So I really request and insist that you buy the book. I'm really enjoying. I'm not yet completed, but whatever I've read, I'm very happy with whatever you've written, and there is so much to learn. And I realize that there are so, as you said, you put it in a very simple yet a very powerful manner. Simplicity doesn't mean it's not effective. You put it in a very simple manner, but I'm sure it's highly impactful and highly powerful because there is one chapter where you speak about reducing overwhelm and resistance. I think that is something I really personally liked, and of course the whole technique is something which is amazing. Um, Prachi, do you have any questions for Kunal before we do the concluding part of this?
Uh, no, Ashwini, no questions. But yeah, halt technique is something I really like.
Yeah,
And I think pausing is something that we all should learn,
yeah,
generally speaking, also in life. And that is, I think, that one pause makes a whole lot of difference, which actually COVID gave us. But
yes,
we are fast forgetting it now, and we are kind of going back
literally,
to where we were to the rat race and all of that. So
absolutely.
halt is, yes, even I like that technique actually. Just one small thing was that you said you spoke about chanting Om in the morning, but there was one thing. Now, once we get up in the morning, many a times, even if I sit for meditation and all, there's a lot of thoughts which, like, kind of almost as if they were stopped by my sleep, and now that sleep is over, they have come like a dam being opened. So for that, is there any maybe EFT or CBT? I don't know what will work. If you can just tell some short technique.
See, what question I understand you're asking is how do I calm the mind chatter? Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
So let's understand what is a mind chatter. Mind chatter is nothing but too many thoughts coming in, right? The inflow of the thoughts is just too much. What we call it as overthinking. So for that, the best technique I would recommend is emotional freedom technique. Whatever is going on, in your mind, whatever is bothering you, just do some tapping. And I'm not saying you have to do it like for an hour or two, even 5 minutes or 7 minutes of tapping in the morning or in the evening, whenever you are feeling low, or whenever you think you are just in that zone, just keep tapping. And just I've explained the technique of tapping also in the book. And once you do that, you already gain more control over your emotions, right? And then, Prachi, that is the time you can use CBT to understand what thought it is,
Yeah.
right? And then substitute that thought with a helpful thought. I'm not saying the thoughts has to be positive. The book is not about positive thinking. The book is
Yeah.
about keeping you calm. So for you to keep be calm, how do you substitute those thoughts, which I'm assuming these are creating unpleasant emotions, into more helpful thoughts? And that will kind of, and once you make this as a habit and do it consistently, it kind of automatically creates a peaceful in a life, calm lifestyle.
Yeah, thanks. That helps.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Prachi. And I think, yes, that was really needed because we all go through that. So, point noted. And EFT is something I think it always works. I've used it several times too. And thanks for,
Yes.
just giving this, putting it so beautifully. So, Kunal, any closing remarks before we close this video? Because I'm sure we had such a great conversation, and um, I'm sure many of our book club members who are looking forward to read this book, this conversation will also help them to give more idea. And for all those who have yet not bought the book or yet to read the book, I'm sure this will give them an outline to um, to know more about this. So, any closing remarks for anyone and everyone watching?
So I have two closing remarks. First is, one, I am so grateful to you, Ashwini, and to you, Prachi, for doing this session, and my utmost gratitude to both of you. And secondly, as a something that I would like to share as a takeaway of why is it so important for people to be at ease or be at peace? Because peace for me, this is the way I look at it, is the foundation of creation. Like if you want to create anything, right, whether it's relationships, whether it's money, whether it's good health, you need to do some kind of critical thinking, right? Where you are, where you want to be. There is always some thinking involved. Now, if I'm already stressed, or if I'm not in the right zone, or if I'm not at peace, can I truly come up with that critical thinking? I don't think so, right? So being at peace is kind of the foundation, for me at least, for creating or improving anything that you want in life, or anything you want to create in life. And that's the reason why being at peace is so important.
Yeah.
So once I practice this skill of calming myself or being at peace and maintaining the lifestyle, the impact of implementing and being at peace, actually you will be able to see in many other areas of your life as well. So better health, better relationships, maybe better money as well, finances as well, because being at peace will give you more and more ideas and more creative juices to kind of do things which you weren't doing.
Very, very well said, very well put. And, uh, it just makes a lot of sense because creativity will only flow when you are stable.
Absolutely.
Totally amazing. Thank you so much, Kunal. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Thank you for sharing the techniques. And I'm so sure that our readers and our all the members of our book club will now get more clarity on this book, and happy to make it the book of this month for June. And looking forward to have more some catch ups. Yay! Looking forward to have more catch ups with you on this topic. Probably, if the book club members would like, we can also have a, a, a virtual catch up where we discuss the book. So, all our viewers and all our readers, do let us know if you would like to have a catch up with Kunal virtually. And we are happy to have one more discussion on this book. Thank you, Kunal, for your time. Congratulations once again on being
Thank
the
you, Ashwini.
on your book being the Amazon bestseller. Wishing you lots more more achievements, lot of success, and many more books. May you write many more books which may touch so many lives and help people to get clarity, peace, happiness, and joy. So with that, we will close this conversation. Thank you on behalf of the entire core team of Unicorn Readers Club. Me and Prachi are here. Neelam, Kaizin, two of our core team members are not on this call. But on behalf of all of us at the Unicorn Readers Club, we would like to thank you and hope to see you soon on yet another call. All the best and thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. My
Yeah.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Kunal. Thanks, Ashwini. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.